Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome everyone to the Undrafted Uncensored, where it is Saturday and we still like to bother you at noon because we're good like that.
Because we're 100 bitches.
Yeah, 100.
Isn't that hard to believe?
No.
Like just a year ago, we were at 22.
I love it. Let's
How math
go.
works.
We made it to 100.
We hit
And
the century mark, baby.
Instagram's telling us something funny as you're probably looking at. I don't know what's happening.
It sounds hilarious.
So I don't know. We could start up again, but yeah, we made it to 100.
I think that's pretty cool.
Let's try it again.
No, we got it. I only have one question.
Yeah.
Though. Do the Rockies, by the end of the baseball season, do we have more episodes or is it more Rockies losses?
I thought it was going to be, do you feel lucky?
I think it's going to be pretty difficult to get to that many episodes or that many losses for the Rockies even with where they're at right now. But I think it's pretty funny that we could be in contention by doing one a week for the next multiple set of weeks until football season.
We will cut back our upload schedule to make this bit work.
The Rockies could, in theory, catch up to us with losses and our episode count.
We'll make sure.
I mean, I do have some vacations planned.
Yeah.
Vacations, more baseball stadiums going on. As I know, Nick is trying to figure out the Instagram, but definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in and hanging with us through 100 episodes and even more with possibly if you were part of Undrafted before or the Victory Formation, any of those things. But thank you for being a part of 100 and many more to come as we go on.
Yeah, if anyone's actually been here that whole time, that you're the fucking best. We love you physically and emotionally.
I don't know if Nick is got it.
I'm just going to try and create a new stream and see.
Okay, cool. We'll just create a new one. Then we'll thank everyone again once that gets started. As he gets that created. As it gets that created. See, I should have just played the intro multiple times this time. And
I know the one time you get it right and what happens?
The one time. It happens a lot of times.
Nope.
But
I don't remember this one
as Nick gets the Instagram set back up, we'll jump into the Nuggets. And they found a W on the road in Minnesota. They found the win, and the only reason they found the win was because Anthony Edwards just was kind of tired and didn't decide to show up. That's what I got from Minnesota. I don't know about you, Joe, but that's how I feel that they responded to that game.
They definitely felt off offensively for sure. But no, should we start the bit of do the Nuggets score more points than we have episodes of our podcast?
Hey, that's a good one to go on to. I like that.
But dude, it felt like that a lot, but it also felt like the Nuggets offense was really just humming. The Timberwolves feel like kind of the equivalent of like the Derrick Henry Tennessee Titans, where it's like they're going to beat the fuck out of you, but if you get a lead on them, they are not built to score a whole bunch and come back necessarily. They still will just grind you down because they're deep, because basketball is a different sport. Woo! Nick seems like it worked.
He got it. So
got it. We're live now.
But
thank everybody for
thank you everyone on Instagram. You're cool.
We're talking about the Nuggets finally finding a W in Minnesota, and my comment was after Anthony Edwards' comments after the game saying he just didn't show up. He wasn't ready to play.
So let me throw a question out at you then real quick. And it's going to be based off of Colin anyway.
Well, then don't.
I'm happy the Nuggets won. Don't get me wrong. Now, to me, did you guys feel the same way? Because it felt like to me the Nuggets still weren't 100% into it last night. Like they won, they looked decent, but I still feel like there was like another gear they could put themselves into, and they weren't quite the dominating Nuggets I'm used to. Am I reading too much into this, or am I expecting too much out of this team?
I'd say the statement is not wrong, but you probably are reading too much into it. Yeah. Because there should be another level for them to go to. This is only round 2 of the playoffs, and they're still kind of getting into their full-on mode. But it felt like Jamal Murray was 100% locked in. Jokic was locked in. Aaron Gordon hit threes. Like, dude, Aaron Gordon has hit a couple of threes in the last couple games. Like, I'm floored that Aaron Gordon might actually be able to make that at least a threat that you have to respect. Not something that he's going to make a whole bunch, not something that you should take the over on. But like,
well, the over's always at a half, so it's not really a bad bet.
Okay, fuck it, hammer the over
recently.
then. Just do it. Yeah, we're not here for percentages. Everybody gets one, right, Nick? You know
exactly. Everybody gets one.
No,
Peter.
I think you are kind of wrong in that aspect, because what I think you saw was not Joe. You mentioned Aaron Gordon and him hitting threes. Aaron Gordon wasn't the same physical presence that he was, but the Nuggets were very locked in from the outside, and a lot of players were, and they played different roles than we had seen as of late, because you had KCP going in there and getting multiple rebounds, which when's the last time we saw KCP getting boards and crashing the boards like that? We haven't seen that in months, maybe even years of him being a Nugget.
Yeah, with KCP.
You know,
and
the way that they were locked in, I think that it was just a different style, and you had to play a different style of game if you wanted a different result. So I think these guys were fully locked in, and they won. I mean, they won the game by 20.
They won by 20, but
and they had a 20-point lead like the whole game.
It felt like cruise control once they hit that 20 mark. Because
I don't know. It's actually an NBA record. No team that lost the first 2 games at home or whatever, or lost 2 games of a series maybe, came back to win their first one by 27. That's the highest margin of victory in that particular situation. So it's a niche like record, but technically that's a record. No one's won by that much after losing the first 2 games of a series. Maybe it's only the home game, so we'll get even more specific with it, but that's still a pretty big fucking deal, man. Especially with the way they play, to come back 27 points. Like that's huge. It just proves they're not out of it yet.
I don't think I set the bar high. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Colin. Don't get me wrong.
But you said they set it on cruise control, but they kept it at 20 basically the whole game. That's something that we haven't seen this Nuggets team do. They've given up the leads and let other teams come back. Yeah. They let the Lakers do that. You know, that's what I'm saying. This wasn't a cruise control type of game. They kept their foot on the gas, and maybe they weren't as aggressive. You know, they could have won by 40 with Anthony Edwards deciding to take the night off. But in all honesty, I think this was something that we haven't seen that shows that they were very locked in, and all of the guys were ready to play because they held that lead and they wouldn't let Minnesota even get a thought of coming back. That's a different mentality than we've seen from this team in a while. So I'm excited to see what happens in the next 4 games. If the Nuggets come out like that, or next 3 games, 3 or 4 games, I guess is what it can be.
No, it's gonna be 3.
If the Nuggets come out and play that way, it's game over, because as talented as they are, and the possible injury to Alexander, what's his name, right? Nikolai Alexander. No, that's a wanted injury, phantom injury, benching injury, which we'll get into. Alexander Walker, yes, at the end of the game, who went straight to the training room after falling on a Jokic screen, which luckily I was able to get back and watch the end of that. Thankfully, I was texting Joe because my stream went out. I was like, they're finally winning and I can't watch. I would also like to thank Peyton Swatson for the swat with 20 seconds left. That was nice. That was a $50 win on $10.
Oh, nice!
Oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. I was just happy to see some of the young guys, like seeing Strother hit that just fucking buttery smooth 3. Like that makes me excited for future Denver Nuggets years, and having a guy that can hit more threes. You know, having him and Porter out there at the same time, if he can continue to develop, that makes me happy for the future. Because whenever a team has this many good players that make this much money, you always get concerned about what they're going to be able to do years down the road. But obviously right now it's the playoffs and we're worried about Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I and like I said, Colin, I see what you're saying. I think I've set the bar so high because of how good I know this team can perform that, again, I'm happy with the victory. Don't get me wrong. It was a fun game to watch. I think I just need to tone myself down a little bit because
You want them to win by what? Fucking 40?
Yeah.
Like, come on, Nick. Like, calm down.
They
held it together and they held that lead the whole game. This should be like this is the most signs of life that we've seen since the NBA, since the finals last year.
Yeah.
They were kicking the crap out of the Heat. Like this is through the season. It was kind of like, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. But them holding this lead should be like literally cement that, all right, these guys know what time it is now. Like they got punched in the mouth and they decided to respond.
I started thinking about it last night, and I mean, it'll lead into a story later. I almost looked at in the third quarter. I almost looked to see what the odds were for Minnesota to come back and win on the money line because I wasn't quite sure when that second unit came out. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I should look into it. I'm like, no, don't do it because then you're going to curse them.
Nope, don't do it. Absolutely
not. I didn't look, but it leads into a story later for the Avalanche. That'll tell you.
Yeah, I did it. I did it for the Nuggets in game 2, and that didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I hit. Oh man, Christian Braun hitting a 3 also got me some money last night.
Hell yeah!
I just and to go back to Aaron Gordon, your kind of original question, it was a weird game for Gordon because he did hit those 3s, but he also only had 2 assists. Like he wasn't as involved in the game. One thing they talked about afterwards was Aaron Gordon brought the ball up the court and then handed it off to Jokic afterwards. So it was less taxing on Jokic because of how physical Minnesota was. And they were still physical in this game, but the Nuggets found a way to get around it and work around it. Those 4 days, I said before this series started, regardless of what happened in those first 2, that I expected Murray to be back. And especially after all the crap that had been talked, I knew after those 4 days off, he was going to light it up last night.
Oh, and he loved them booing him every time he touched the ball, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every single one of my Murray things hit, and the only thing that sucked is that I put it with some other guys.
Put it in a parlay?
Yeah.
Oh,
so, like
Zach Buy stuff?
But, no, I didn't know
Stokely and some other guy?
So, I didn't know Zach he probably did. I've been too busy this week listening to stuff, but I knew Murray was going to come back ready, especially after that long break. We talked about should they have rested the first 2 games, whatever. You have that break, and this was the reason why you weren't worried about resting him. Yeah, the Nuggets would have been nice to win one at home, but these guys look like they're ready to go from here on out.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you made a great point with Aaron Gordon taking the ball up the court. Like, did you guys see the interview that Jokic did with Scott Van Pelt after the game?
Yep, 2 or 3 seconds.
Exactly. That was a massive deal of Gordon just getting it up the court. And yeah, like you said, not taxing Jokic and Murray especially because they need to be so much more active on the actual offensive court. And just get it up there and get into the action. Like, it's not really complicated. The Nuggets offense has so much moving and shaking. Like, who starts with the ball really doesn't matter that much. But I think that was actually a big deal. And also keeping Gordon kind of at the perimeter at times makes it so Cat and Gobert can't both just sit in the paint all the time. They have to come out and respect that, especially because he made a couple of shots. Like, that's huge. It's almost more important that he makes them respect the shot than actually making that many of them. He really only needs to make 1 or 2.
Well, yeah, because it gives Jamal Murray the elbow jumper all the time. Like, it gives him all those shots in the middle, and he doesn't have to go up against. I mean, we talk about how it's weird to have the Twin Towers, and it hasn't worked since the Spurs, but it's still tough for a guy like Murray to get in the paint. We've seen him struggle when those guys don't respect, the outside shot. And so you're right. Having Gordon hit those was huge.
Well, and I noticed it in the first quarter, and it resolved itself really quick. I tweeted it out too. The Wolves were double teaming Joker and Murray at the same, like, so whoever had the ball, they were double teaming him. Mm-hmm. But each time, no matter what, the other one was going to be covered. And it's just like, guys, if they're going to do that, somebody's open. Take advantage of the opportunity. Get Joker or Jamal the ball just long enough to get double teamed, kick it to the open guy. Don't worry about hitting a three. Just hit a shot. Just put it in the bucket and start running.
Yeah,
hit the shot after Aaron Gordon passes it to you. Damn it!
Damn it!
I got a triple double one that almost hit that I'll tell you about.
I was gonna say, did you have Aaron Gordon assists?
No, I know I did. I had him at 5 assists, and he's gotten that every game except for last game.
That sucks.
So I had in game 1 also I had a triple double for SGA.
Nice.
He's sitting with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. He's already got the points. He's got 7 boards and 8 assists.
Okay.
He ends up going into the fourth quarter, hitting the rebounds, which I was like, oh my God. I also bet over 10 rebounds, which was plus 600.
Nice.
So I hit that. So I was like, cool. That's the hard part. He needs 2 assists. Fourth quarter, not 1. Ends with like 27, 11, and 8. I was like,
he lost
a $10 triple double bet for 360 or 380 or something.
Yeah, I definitely heard that take on ESPN. If SGA has 2 more assists, they win that game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all he needed. He just needed someone to hit a shot. That's what I needed from Aaron Gordon's passes. I needed anyone. But they were hitting their shots on their own. They didn't need to pass it to each other sometimes.
No, and it was nice to see them come back and play real basketball again. I don't know. I don't know what happened those first 2 games, but that was ugly and disgusting. And hopefully this shuts up the national media too, because
it won't.
They were writing the Nuggets obituary.
Oh yeah, in that sense, you're right. Also. I think they will. They even talked about that in the broadcast. They're like, so many omissions and deletions are being made right now en masse.
Yeah,
as the Nuggets have come back in this series.
I mean, one thing. I was gonna say one thing we can't rely on is basically 50% from the 3-point line. I mean, the Nuggets shot 48%. Yeah. If they could continue to do that, that'd be great.
Yeah, win a championship, easy.
But Nick, you alluded to it earlier. You don't necessarily need to kick it out for a 3. If they are guarding those lines, get it inside to someone for an easy bucket and finish.
Yeah.
Like I said, if the Nuggets can continue to shoot 48% from 3, cool. It's going to be an easy trip to the championship and through it. But I don't expect that. I expect them to go back down a little bit, of course, reverse the mean. But it was overall, it was one of those performances that, as hot as the Timberwolves were in like game 1, the Nuggets were just as hot in game 3.
Yeah. And it shows too, the Timberwolves didn't respond to the pressure as well as people expected. Anthony Edwards got all of the Michael Jordan comparisons, which made me smile because I've been saying that this whole year and a little bit of last year too, just in terms of style, not in terms of skill yet. But like they have that same play style. They have a similar killer mentality, but Edwards is not there yet at all.
I can't remember someone was saying Kobe-esque.
Yeah, Kobe, to an extent, because of that jumper, but I feel like Kobe got that jumper from Michael. He just did it way more often than Michael did. But that just like sprinting and just stop mid-range and just fly up almost like parallel to the basket and just bloop. Like, dude, it's
I don't know about
he has that style. Plenty of guys play in the style of all-time greats and aren't as good. I think Anthony Edwards is one of those guys that plays in the style of another all-time great. And maybe he ends up being that good, maybe not. But he's, studied Michael Jordan's game and uses a lot of that kind of stuff because he's a similarly, athletic player. And so we'll see how his career goes. But he did not respond to all those comparisons and everything like you would expect. He really kind of wilted a little bit. Not Chamberlain, but he wilted. So that'll be interesting to see how they respond in the next game too. So,
and not to blame them, but the whistle went in favor of the Nuggets a little bit more last night too, which was kind of a rarity.
No. What killed the Nuggets in game 1 is they had like 8 minutes left in the third quarter and an and one opportunity for every foul, and then they went to the outs. They started to shoot the outside shot. The Nuggets have had the whistle and had the advantage, but changed the way that they played. Like I think that's what killed them.
Well, I was saying they took advantage of the opportunity is what I was saying.
Yeah,
the
because I think
Nuggets-
game 2, the whistle was really on Minnesota's side to an extent, but Denver, they took that so much harder. Like normally,
Yeah.
I love Michael Malone getting fired up and yelling at the ref because it fires up the team usually. Even when he gets himself kicked out, like they get like, fuck yeah, now we're going to do this. But it had the opposite effect in game 2 where they started bitching and they started complaining to the refs. And that was why Jamal Murray threw his heating pad out because he was just frustrated. Like the frustration took precedent over the anger, which sounds like the same thing, but like that fuck you, we're going to beat you mentality wasn't there. It was the fuck you, give us the calls mentality. And they never were getting the calls. And I think that mentality is really what killed them the most in game 2. And yeah, they had plenty of injuries and other stuff too, but like that constant complaining about fouls, it never works for Denver teams in general. And it's not something that you normally see from this Nuggets team. And I think them getting away from that too in game 3 was a big deal. Because the whistle, it was probably a little bit more on their side, but their attitude about the whistle, I think, was a massive deal.
Well, I think what it is with this is what you mean more is like the attitude of we're gonna win in spite of the whistle rather than they were blaming the whistle in game 2.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like that's a lot more of what it was. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what it feels more of like.
You know what I was saying. You translated it better than what I was able to. Speaking of translation, the switch over to the Canadian side, and let's go to the ice, where our Avs decided to split it in Dallas.
Yeah, that's not.
That's definitely a foreign country.
It's not Canada though, but you're right.
You ever been to Texas, dude?
Yeah,
that's not America. They say they are, but they're like, they're like the skin tag of America.
They've got all of the flags.
They're attached. That's about it.
What's up, Allie? I know she's out there listening somewhere. What up, my Silver Punk gang? There are a lot of people in Texas and Austin that I hang around with, but
all of Colin's exes live in Texas.
You know, the one that passed away last year was.
Of course,
but I don't have any other exes in Texas that I know
yet.
It could be, but I don't typically keep tabs on exes. So,
or the state of Texas.
So the Avs split in Dallas, which was a good thing. You wanted them to. I mean, I would rather them taking both games, but first game they go down 3 and they come back and win it in overtime. So they decided to do that again in game 2, go down 3. And so I'm like, hey, this looks familiar. Let me go throw $50 on the Avalanche coming back. And then they go down 4.
Oh, you did it before.
So I go into another app and I'm like, let's throw another 50 down.
So they started to
that one was even higher. I was like, all right, they're coming back. And they get 3 goals, and I'm like, oh, here we go, baby. Here we go. It's gonna be great.
I've seen this movie before.
And then an empty netter.
It's like when that movie makes a terrible sequel.
Like all of them.
Spider-Man 3.
I was sitting there, and there was something about that game, especially when the Ben hit happened, and it was strange. It was like that. It just wasn't the Avs' day. You knew they were going to fight to come back, and it's good to see for the Avs the other guys scoring. I really could have used that second McKinnon goal in game 1. I was happy it was Wood. And they won it in OT. I could have used some Makar goals in game 2. Makar! Which would have been great. It would have been great, almost as great as everyone who's tuned in listening to us. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, they're better. They're pretty cool.
They're definitely better. But I think that these other guys are stepping up in the playoffs, except for Georgie. I don't know if it's time for a change. I don't want to call for a change because they're winning, but my God, you can't put your team in a 3-0 and then a 4-0 hole in consecutive games.
Well, the defense
it's going to take Rantanen snapping at him again. Or
they're just letting him do a false sense of security.
One of those goals was off of a shin pad. It was deflected off a shin pad. There's nothing he can do about it.
I know.
There are a few goals that he lets through that he just cannot do anything about.
Yeah, but that
And
happens
so
to
it's-
every goalie. It's the fact that he lets in the other goals in addition to those.
He
that
seems
is
to have a little bit more
partially
bad
the
luck than
issue.
other goalies sometimes. I mean, the
I
flopping
can see
is the flopping around like you're Dominic Hasek. Obviously, that annoys me. You're not Hasek. Nobody will be Hasek. Just leave the flopping to somebody else. Keep your body upright.
I just I get worried if the Avs now have an opportunity to take home ice. I mean, they need to obviously win these two at home upcoming, including tonight. I don't know. Maybe you give Georgie one more start at home, but if he gives up another 3 goals, you yank him in the middle of the
over, yeah.
game. Do you let him finish it out again, and then the Avs make a comeback? And then you keep him in net because of that. I get worried because you can't keep doing this, especially if the Avs progress in these Stanley Cup playoffs. They are not going to be able to do this in the conference finals or the Stanley Cup final. I mean, there's no way.
I think this is their toughest match. I think, like the Nuggets, I think this round is what it takes for them to get past everything. If they can get through this second round, their next round and the finals are not going to be as difficult because
I don't know the Rangers.
Look at the Rangers right now. They're having a hard time with Carolina.
Really? Okay, I thought they were kicking ass.
The Panthers and Boston are having a high, but that's what I'm saying. These other series are really high scoring. I don't think the Panthers and the Boston series. I don't think any game has been under like the winning team has had 4 or 5 goals in every game.
Sorry. I was thinking of the Boston series, and the Rangers are the ones that are walking past Carolina right now.
That's the team that like they're with Mika Zibanejad and obviously Igor
Jerkin my Shesterkin.
Exactly, Jerkin the Sturkin. That's the team that like I've been saying that I don't actually believe in Boston, but the Rangers are the NHL's Boston. Like that in terms of the Celtics. Like I don't believe in the Celtics as being the best team, even with Porzingis. I feel like the Rangers are that, but they're for real. Like they're actually the team to be worried about because they have the goalie and the offensive output. I think the Avs with their style can absolutely take them, but I think that will end up being probably the be all end all, which is good because you want that in the finals. But I feel like the NHL has the Rangers, where the NBA, it's a little dicey with the East. I don't believe in Boston.
Well, I sit here and I look at the Rangers and. That's scary. If the Avs play the Rangers, I don't think they're favored in that series.
No.
Because last year they lost a bunch of games like 2-1 where it was a lucky bounce on Shesterkin or is 1-0 in the playoffs. I mean, they're still a good defensive team, a very good defensive team that has found their offense. And Shesterkin, you're not going to be able to you go in a 3-0 hole against Shesterkin in the finals, you are not going to come back on him. Like,
how crazy would it be though that Georgie faces his old team that said, "You can't get us anywhere."
He ain't gonna face him if he keeps giving up 3 goals.
Yeah, Justus Annanen's gonna face his old team.
He's gonna be watching from the bench.
That's fine. Juice is ready to go. We'll let the juice loose.
Yeah.
Well, the juice is 6 feet under right now. Too soon.
Yeah. I think we should re-gift that nickname. It's too good of a nickname to go to that guy. So,
yeah. We'll let Orenthal rest where he may.
Current backup goalie, maybe not, but they haven't loosed the juice yet. So
that's what scares me because you can't. These guys on offense, and I'm talking about everyone else stepping up. Young guys.
Yeah, you're getting goals from guys that are your third and fourth lines,
and you can't waste those efforts. But
they have to step up too and play defense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not blaming it all on Georgie as much as everybody wants to. They still have to step up and play defense.
But even if it's not all on Georgie, sometimes the right move is to make a switch. Even if it's not sometimes you got to switch out the quarterback. Even if it's not necessarily all his fault, it's just not working. You need something else. You can still end up going back to Georgie. Maybe depends on how he takes the benching, or if it's taken as like a benching or as like we just need to play a guy for a game and kind of get Georgie some rest maybe or whatever. I don't know. But I think that's the way they have to go, is they have to keep with Georgie for one more game and keep him on kind of a leash. You let up a few goals, then that's probably it. Depending on what time of the game that is, maybe you pull him, maybe you don't, and you just start Annan in the next game. It's tough to say, but I think you're right in the sense that if he keeps giving up too many, like 3-0, like before the Avs get a chance to get anything, we go down 2 to 3 goals again and lose another one. I think you have to give Annan a look.
But again, what does that say about your team, though, that you're able to give up that many goals in that few shots? And
it means you should be sweeping series.
Yeah. It means that your defense needs work. It means that, and that's including the goalie. That he's part of the defense.
Yes,
he's part of the defense. Like,
yeah, that side of the ice you need to work on a little bit more, because I mean, you're putting shots up left and right on some of these goaltenders, and you're not getting the bounces you're expecting. I mean, you can only do so much.
So I know at the end of the first round, like he looked good after those first few games, but you can't continue to start slow. You just, I don't know why he can't play the first few games. I guess we'll see what happens in game 3. But you can't continue to start slow in these series, because luckily the Avs aren't in a hole because they made a great comeback and then win it in overtime. But even some of those, some of those games in round 1, like you say, Georgie looked better. He still made easy saves look very difficult. Like that's
because he's flopping around. I mean, that's
not going to change. Like
it's not a good thing.
He's gotten better. Like his defense, it hasn't changed. And so, if you're making easy saves, I mean, in my mind, easy saves. I don't know what it's like being out there being a goalie, but in comparison to goaltending that I've seen in the past, what should be easy saves he makes look difficult. It's not a good sign. Maybe he's not seeing the puck fine. Maybe he needs the Darcy Kemper treatment.
Yeah. Which optometrist do we send Darcy to? We're going to send Georgie, or as they like to call him on the fan, Gorgie, over to this guy. I've actually heard Bednar say that too. So maybe it's Gorgie. Is he like a breed of dog?
Oh Lord. I don't know. I'm feeling more confident in the Avs than I am the Nuggets anyway. Not that they're not giving me heart palpitations as well, but thankfully, anytime the Avs or the Nuggets do anything, and I have any pain in my arms, it's my right arm, so I know it's not my heart.
No, if it's the left arm, it just means your heart's breaking.
Yeah, and that also means I should probably see a doctor.
I don't know. I have about the same amount of confidence in both of these guys, in both these teams. Yeah, there are flaws, but there's what I saw from the Nuggets last night. I would have said I had more confidence in the Avs before the way they played last night.
Yeah.
But the way they played, I think they did figure it out. In the Avs, like it's still a little shaky, but Georgie, prove me wrong, but for the love of God, like start a series and hold the other team like early on in a series so the Avs can go up 2-0, and then all the pressure's on them, and your offense is going to score when the other offense is pressing.
Yeah.
Like your offense can already score when the other when the other team goes into turtle defense. It doesnn't matter if they're trying to stop you, because the Avs are going to force the point. Georgie needs to play with the lead.
Am I not turtly enough for you?
Yes.
Am I not turtly enough for your turtle club?
Nope.
I don't know. I think part of the problem is, again, I said it before, I think we have the bar set so high for these two teams right now, because we've reached that point with these guys where we expect championships. We expect championship play. We expect championship presence. And we expect them to go out and dominate every night that they play, because that's what they should be, and that's what they are, in our opinion. And that's what you should think in your locker room too. Well, things are going to happen, but with the bar set so high, you need to start working to achieve that.
Well, and you need to deliver like these for us as sports fans in Denver. We've never had this opportunity, like legitimately, this window where both these teams can win a championship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
this
did in the
window,
bubble.
this window isn't. There were the injuries that were.
They were both young, also.
Yeah.
Like Kale was very young.
Kale just came in.
Came right out of college into the
yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, and
It
the
was after
Nuggets were
college
very
season.
young too. But that was the last time that we had both teams going far into the playoffs. The Nuggets made it to the conference finals, and the Avalanche, I think, got knocked out in the second round by I forget who it was, some assholes. Dallas. So I think that was the last time they had this opportunity. But this is better. Like both these teams look better now than they did then. This is kind of what we thought we had in the bubble. I remember being up at my dad's cabin being like, man, this is so cool. Both these teams are good right now. We're going to have this for, a long time coming. And then Jamal got hurt. And so the Avalanche won and the Nuggets came back and won after Landeskog got hurt. So this has been, I think, the best opportunity to do both. But I wouldn't say it's the first time they've had it, but like this feels better. This feels
I mean, you knew in the bubble though the goaltending was shaky for the Avs. I mean, I don't want to go back on all of it, but that's what I'm saying. Like the bar is so high. The bar is so high, and it should be high because these teams only have so much time, and we as fans only have so much time that we can expect these teams to win championships. Yeah. This isn't going to last 20 straight seasons. Like I would love it. I would love for it. Yeah, this is not Patriots football or whatever, where Yankees baseball. Like this is not what you can expect out of these leagues anymore. Yeah. So yeah, the expectations in the bar has to be high, and these guys have to deliver year in, year out while they're here because they've set up, they've built it up to that. Like, so I don't see why you should apologize for setting the bar high because as fans, we want parades. I want to see championships
parade
because I don't want to wait 40. I don't want to wait 40 more years for another parade. All right, because we all know that there isn't going to be one in October anytime soon. So, like, for the love of God, I highly doubt February is coming in the next 2 or 3 years.
Hey, that's not true. The NBA or the NHL could have to postpone the season, and we could have a parade in October for one of them.
You out there, I'm gonna mute.
I will murder you.
Joe is going off screen.
Something can happen. That's all I'm saying.
Nope. You're about to get kicked off the show forever.
You can have
another COVID event. Oh, dude, I swear to God.
No, I didn't say COVID. I just said anything.
Yeah, but that's how that's gonna happen.
What if we get a UFL team? When's their championship? Is that in October?
No, that's like July.
I'm just saying, parades can happen in October. They won't be for baseball.
Well, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
And we don't know if there's going to be any football parades in the next 2-3 years.
It's not impossible, but it's definitely not. If you have $5 you want to throw away that might get you $500,000, throw it on there. But like,
it's not going to get you $500,000.
I don't think it would.
Not getting you. It's getting you like $1,100 right now.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I think the Broncos are plus 4,000 or like 5,000 or something.
Yeah, that's not even worth losing the $5. I'd rather buy a cheeseburger.
Paradise.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe they're higher than that. I could be wrong, but
I like mine with lettuce and tomatoes.
Well, actually, speaking of the Broncos, let's go ahead and kick over there real quick. They signed their first-round draft pick to a 4-year, $18.76 million deal. That's okay. That's a cute money. That's cute money right there for a number 12 pick that should have been drafted in the second round, but I'm okay with it.
I mean, fifth year option, man. That's for the quarterback, especially. That's just worth it. It did feel a little bit of a reach, but like you just couldn't guarantee. We talked about this in the draft, how far he was going to fall. So it's like, fuck it. I think, and if he ends up being good, that's a steal. That's what we're hoping for.
I think he's going to be the steal. I think he's going to be because you look at all these quarterback draft classes, and the first 3 or 4 usually pan out to be meh. And then there's that one that's a little bit later that just kind of stands out a little bit more.
Josh Allen. That's what I was saying. Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can pick those names out of hats, but let's go over all the number ones that have been good. Like
Tim Couch,
Jamarcus Russell.
that have been good.
I know.
Sure, we can go over all the bad ones that you want, but there's a lot more of those high draft picks that have been good in comparison to the late round guys.
Be positive.
There are three.
Oh, yeah.
There are 3 second round quarterbacks who have reached the Super Bowl. It's Tarkenton, Favre, and Breeze. All right, so let's not Favre. Yes, Brett Favre. So let's not play games and say that. There are ways that, it is a gamble no matter what, because you don't know how it's going to translate. But most things show that you're not likely to get Brock Purdy. You're more likely to get Mr. Woody himself in the 6th round as Mr. Irrelevant than Mr. Brock Purdy. All right.
Reach for the sky.
Howdy.
Best call at the end of a hockey game I've heard in a very long time for Wood scoring the goal and Connor McGahee. Reach for the sky.
That was only 29.
Wonderful.
I don't know. There's a lot of potential. I mean, obviously, Joe's quarterback is now out in the either realm for everybody to.
I mean, it's fine. He's going to go back to the UF. He probably actually is playing in the UFL right now. I
wouldn't be surprised if he was.
Yeah, or he's going to get signed immediately.
Oh, I hope he signs with my team.
Yeah, or no, my team, or maybe Nick's.
Hey, St. Louis plays today. They're playing DC.
There you go.
Battle of the top teams in the UFL. Not that I'm paying attention or anything.
Unfortunately, that is not the game that we are picking today.
Let's go, San Antonio.
It is a good one, but it's not the game we're picking. But what?
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. It's one of those. It's obviously a transitional time for the Broncos. New quarterback, new uniforms. New philosophy. Now we know. Now Peyton has no choice but to show us what he's got.
Show me what you got.
Well, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier. It's kind of like we've had this old crappy car and it was time to upgrade. But now that the Broncos have kind of upgraded, it's like, yes, I'm still a little nervous about this upgrade. It's still kind of like we're on the 30-day or 90-day trial in this newer car. I'm not sure if it will be better than what we had before. I'm hopeful that it is, but I'm also have a lot of nerves because I'm putting a lot of hope into this car being better than what we had before. And so this analogy I'm very hesitant because now that some of the draft excitement is worn off, I'm still excited that the Broncos got Troy Franklin to pair with Knicks. I think that was a huge move. There's still so many holes on this team.
Yeah, but we knew they weren't going to get filled right away.
Well, I know, but what I'm going to is like, there are still so many holes on this team. Is that going to hinder a young quarterback's development in Knicks? Did the Broncos make a mistake by not maybe moving up and building the offensive line or doing some things to better themselves in multiple areas and maybe moving back and letting someone get Bo Nix? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I want Bo Nix to be good also, but I'm nervous that this team still has some holes in it. And we got this test run to see if Nix can do it, but maybe in that test run, you hit a bad pothole and it messes up your car forever. And maybe Nix gets put in a pothole and he's messed up forever.
Well, that's possible, but I don't know. I think unlike the games from the 2000s, I don't think it's going to hinder.
Linemen are a dime a dozen. Oh my god!
You can find for where they're at right now. You can find enough to patch your line together. Obviously, you have to make sure that his backside's covered. You still have Garrett Bowles over there. I mean, it just depends on which Bowles shows up that day. You have a center. You have
we don't.
Belly out there, so you've got some experience in front of him at least. You can find guys for now. Again, this is the transition period too. How do you get guys to come in? You start winning. Now you have a quarterback that can probably lead, but I don't think he's going to start right away either. I don't see Peyton starting him right away either. They're going to throw They're going to throw Zach Wilson to the Wolves and see how long before they can kill him.
Oh, awesome. So Zach Wilson gets to be a sacrificial lamb and scare the crap out of Bo Nix before he goes and gets his head blown off. Zach Wilson
Bo Nix played in the SEC.
Okay, let's not get into it. He played in the SEC for 2 seasons and then he moved to Oregon where his uniform was kept clean. And he looked great where his uniform was kept clean in the Pac-12 because he had a really damn good offensive line. In the SEC against high caliber, opponents with lesser talent, he didn't look so good because he was getting hit and blown up. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm afraid of for Bo Nix's development.
He was also young, and he was running an offense that wasn't catered to him. So now
he's a rookie in the NFL, Nick.
Yeah, but
he's younger not than everybody because he's one of the COVID kids, but he's younger than Max Crosby coming at you 2 times in a season.
Okay.
Than Joey Bosa.
He's still, no matter what, he's going to do rookie stuff. He's going to make
have Garrett Bowles to work.
But if you can throw Zach Wilson out there, figure out where your line holes are.
No.
And then from there, he's not going to get scared. It's football. He knows football. He knows what football is. And again, he played in the SEC. So he knows what it's like to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's going to beat out Zach Wilson. I feel like he's going to be the starter.
And if he does, then he has no choice.
Just because of the talent ahead of him or lack thereof. I think he's going to end up being, and that, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. They do have questions at offensive line, though, because who is the center? Forsyth? Or the other guy?
That's a good one. I don't remember now.
I'm trying to remember the dude's name.
Miners, Kush.
Yeah, no, Cushenberry's gone.
I know.
So
that's why I was wondering what you were.
Yeah, they've got Miners at guard. Like they don't have a center yet. They're gonna the competitions between.
They had Quinn
Wattenberg, I think.
Before.
Is it Luke Wattenberg? Yeah, they got 2 former backups that are competing right now. They might bring in somebody else.
And Wattenberger was a 7th round pick last year, also maybe
something like that. Yeah, I think that's who it is. Is Wattenberg and Forsyth? I want to say.
No, he's the long snapper though, isn't he?
No, long snapper is Jabroni.
Jabroni.
Yes, I love it.
Mitchell Frabroni, my guy, the Jabroni. But yeah, no, the offensive line definitely has questions. That's going to be something they'll have to figure out. I mean, they can patchwork the offensive line, Nick. You're right, but that's not something you want to do. That's something the Broncos have been doing for like 7 or 8 years.
But like I said,
they haven't been really building it. There's almost starting to now with the youth and Quinn Miners at guard. Who knows if Bowles ends up being one of those guys that plays into his late 30s because he was drafted late. So that is possible. It's not necessarily likely or something you should bank on, but that's especially with offensive tackle, especially that's something that is a higher possibility than other positions. But like other than those 2 spots, like there's question marks on that line. They're paying Ben Powers a lot. Luckily they got McGlinchey to restructure. But it's going to be a tough year. I don't think they're going to be great this year, but they might be able to find a rhythm. If Zach Wilson's starting, I'm concerned because that means either they don't think the team is good enough to put Bo Nix out, like Nick says, or Bo Nix doesn't have it yet over Zach Wilson, and that worries me even more.
Yeah, hopefully Nix's speed of the game, he catches up to the speed of the NFL game very quickly. That's going to be a big thing because you're going to have to get rid of the ball fast behind this line. The threat of the run game with what we saw last year really isn't there. Edric Estime, I hope he comes in and bruises, but it's really going to take him having a quick processor because, Wilson was sacked, 50 times? Like, whatever it was.
Well, how many of those were his fault, too?
Well, but you're
not trying
you have a rookie quarterback back there where that's what I'm saying, the speed of the game. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's his fault for not getting rid of the ball quickly enough, but this is a rookie coming in from an offense where he had time, and I know he threw a lot of timing routes, but he had an offensive line he could trust. I don't know if he gets rattled with an offensive line he can't trust. Maybe that's what happened when he was at Auburn.
So you have Wattenberg as one center.
Wattenberg and Forsyth, I think, is it.
Forsyth was the other one, and then there's one more. Mustafa. Sam Mustafa out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, the planet where they fight General Grievous.
Yeah.
Speaking of grieving. The Rockies. The Rockies
over the Rockies real quick. Hey, 2 in a row, okay? You win one more. That's called a winning streak. It has happened before.
Not here.
This is the ultimate definition of a team not giving the Rockies any credit. I mean, you have the world champs and the Rangers coming in, and
well, in their defense, they threw John Gray yesterday.
And John
Gray can't pitch. We all know John Gray can't pitch here
at Coors Field. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Which is why you should have traded him at the trade deadline and gotten something for him before letting him go in free agency. But regardless
that would
require the Rockies. Okay, they can get a winning streak, but Chris Bryant's back isn't magically going to get fixed. The Rockies aren't going to.
I don't rely on Chris Bryant for anything.
Like these rookies, this team is still just so far away. I'm turning on the Yard Goats to watch them and Zach Veen and Dolander, who had 10 Ks the other day.
Oh, dude, he looked good, didn't he?
I'm watching those guys play because somehow I hope that they don't get screwed up in between their time between then and coming up to the Rockies organization and changes happen before.
They won't get screwed up. They'll just get called up too early, and then they'll just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Something doesn't happen to screw them up before.
How is that not screwing them up
before change happens?
I don't know. I mean, it's fun to watch the minors guys. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, there's hope.
These younger guys that are coming up right now. I mean, Beck's having a little bit of a hard time at the plate, but he's starting to get better. Defensively, the dude's great. He's got some good speed. I mean, his first time up, his first cup of coffee in the bigs. We'll see.
Well, but this is my whole thing with this Rockies team is that you're playing at altitude, and if I were GM, owner, whatever, I would play to your strengths. Play to those porches. Play towards having altitude.
Do like the Yankees do.
Thin air. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You have that short porch out and right. Use it.
Yeah.
Like, get guys who can hit line drives that would be singles anywhere else that are home runs there. You're at Coors Field and you're not putting together a mashing type of team. Like, your defense, it's great to have a good, especially outfield at Coors Field. It's a huge outfield.
But your corner infielder should be where your power comes from too.
And right now, Ryan McMahon is probably your all-star.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not good because he had his string where after Nolan left, he was hitting home runs, but that has died off. He's lost his power. So this Rockies team is so devoid of the talent, man. It sucks. And I don't want to say total talent because they're very good defensively, especially in the outfield. You have no offensive pop. Tovar isn't that much of a threat. Diaz is one of the,
he's decent.
Close your eyes and hope he smashes it. Blackman you can rely on, but not for power anymore.
No.
Nolan Jones is hurt. You have no pop in this lineup. This is not that lineup that you looked at after the World Series and was like, man, this is scary. Like, everybody in this lineup is awesome.
I mean, even then, that World Series lineup wasn't all that scary either.
It was pretty scary. It was
decent guys, but
Atkins, Hop, Helton. I mean, you had a Tulo
for the time,
Cargo, right? Cargo was on
Cargo. No, I mean, yeah.
He might have been on the team, but he wasn't like a prominent.
But I
didn't start hearing his name until later.
You had pop all over that lineup, and then you had speed also, which the Rockies with Nolan Jones out definitely have a lot less speed.
Don't forget now you have the brightest barrier too, though.
Well, and
that takes away from that too.
Yeah, but you play to your.
I mean, how fast can the current Rockies even be? They don't even have Kaz Matsui.
Kaz is probably still faster than 75% of the Rockies.
Yeah,
that dude. He was one. I didn't watch a ton of baseball, but that time was when they were good. So I watched a few games and playoff games and stuff, and I was like, that guy's the shit.
But that's what I'm saying. That lineup was built to be scary. Like, they had Kaz. No, he didn't have a ton of pop, but he hits a ball to the outfield. There's a threat of him going to second on any ball to the outfield if you don't take it seriously enough. Every batter in that lineup you had to take seriously.
Yeah, to quote Jonah Hill, he gets on base.
Besides the pitcher, and even then, some of the pitchers for the Rockies could hit them too.
Great.
I think some of the pitchers for the Rockies back then might have hit better than some current Rockies.
Yeah, remember when Rockies baseball used to be fun?
Yeah.
Now it's just the stadium itself.
You know what else is fun? betting on sports.
Sometimes.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
The Pick'em segment, proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Or sorry, least. Featuring Nick Archuleta, wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin, just kind of winging it.
That's right. This is the victory formation. Real games, real odds, fake money, but we keep track of it and give you our insights onto our picks for the best games of the week. Sometimes we're good, sometimes we're bad, and sometimes we're just average, much like last week. 2 of us went 2-2, and 1 of us went 1-3. We'll start off. We had the Brahmas and the Defenders. I was the only one to take the DC Defenders over the Brahmas as they won. I think it was like 18-12, or 19-12, something weird. At plus 100, that netted me $20. Next, we moved on to the WNBA and the Storm against the Sparks. The Storm were a minus 550 favorite, and they lost to the Sparks at plus 380 by like double digits. It was, I didn't even realize this. It was like preseason basketball, so it didn't really matter, but there were still odds on it. So there were odds on it.
We're betting on preseason.
WNBA, yes. And
I love this.
Nick and I both chose the Storm, and they got outshined by the Sparks, who Joe picked at plus 380. That netted him $48 of the week.
All I'm saying is, in terms of X-Men, Jubilee is better than Storm, apparently.
Oh, and I actually lied. Only one of us went 2-2, and 2 of you went. Well, I guess there it is. And
I was going to say, wait, what? Hold on.
Well, yeah. So I went 2-2. Nick and Joe both went 1-3. But with that $48 win, that was the biggest win of the week for any of us at plus 380 in preseason WNBA basketball that was in China or something, or North Korea or something. That was somewhere overseas. We move on to the Sunday night baseball game that we always pick. The Giants and the Phillies. Nick got his lone victory in this game as the Phillies and his favorite player in the world, Bryce Harper, homered, and Alec Boehm continued his hit streak on Sunday. They won 5-4 over the Giants in Philadelphia. And then our last game that we picked, it was the Knights and Stars in Game 7. Y'all thought the Knights were going to win. Yep, I chose the Stars, and the Stars came out victorious, and we know they are facing the Avs currently. So that means, Joe, with your 1 win at plus 380, you're the big winner of the week, winning $18. I came in second, winning $16.67. And Nick, you lost $10, but not bad for going 1 for 3. Joe, you're almost over the $400 mark at $394.36. I'm at $288.32. Nick, you are at $174.08. And we move on to this week's picks of the week. We start with, of course, Sunday night baseball. Odds are not out on this yet, but it is the Braves visiting the Metropolitans in New York. I'm pretty sure I know where Nick is going, but let's just have him say it because he's probably trying to look up who's pitching, even though it really doesn't matter for him.
No, because it's the Mets and the Braves, so I'm going to pick the Braves.
Yeah, okay. I knew that was
Mets are going to Met.
Joe, who you got?
METS. I'm taking the Braves.
Oh, okay. Jackass. I started typing in there. All right. I am actually taking the Mets. The Mets are on kind of a run recently, and they've played better at home. They're 18-19, and we talked about this the other week. The Braves are 20. The Braves are 23-12, but they just feel it doesn't feel quite right for the Braves currently. So I am taking the Mets at home. Next, we move on to the UFL. We have the San Antonio Brahmas versus the Houston Roughnecks as our game of the week. Brahmas favorites at minus 166. Roughnecks at plus 140. Joe, who you got?
I'm taking the Brahmas. Clearly.
Joe is definitely taking the Brahmas because that was his team at the start of the season.
No.
And my team at the start of the season was the Roughnecks. So that's the reason why this is our game.
Let's
I
go.
am taking the Roughnecks. Nick, you don't have a horse in this race. But you could choose a cowboy, or you could choose a bull.
I've been picking the Brahmas, and they've been all right for me. But yeah, let's just stick with the Brahmas.
Woo!
He's sticking with the Brahmas.
I was about to yell,
leaving me on my island alone with the Roughnecks.
That's
Next,
okay.
we move on.
It just proves you're a
to
real fan, Colin.
The
We need a
Sunday
real one
night.
stick around when everybody else is supporting.
I'm very dedicated to the Houston Roughnecks lifestyle. Yeah, see, things happen in Texas. We move on to Sunday night basketball. The New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. Knicks on the road at plus 200 underdogs. Pacers favored minus 245. This one is, I'm just kind of wondering. I know the Knicks have played a lot of minutes and Anunoby's out, but it just feels like they're a tougher team than Indiana, and I have to take them in this game. Even though Indiana won last night, I just don't know if I believe in these Pacers. Nick, who you got?
I'm with you. There's a lot of recency bias in that choice, I think, in picking the Pacers over the Knicks, and I still think the Knicks are the better team. So give me the Knickerbockers.
Joe, who you got?
See, I do this every year. I get the series winner right, but I pick every game wrong. So I feel like the Knicks are going to win the series. I think they're a better team. I feel like they're going to bounce back with their injuries and everything. But I feel like I'm wrong, so I'm going to take the Pacers.
And we move on to the what has become a viral song, especially in Canada. The Canucks versus the Edmonton Oilers. Have you guys seen that video?
No.
It's basically a guy singing to is it Queen? I can't remember what it is. But they're just saying, "Oh, Draisaitl sucks. Oh, McDavid sucks. Da sucks." It was pretty funny. So
it's kind of like a British soccer song.
I was going to pull it up on the screen, but I did not plan ahead for it. So either way, we move on to that. It is the Canucks versus the Oilers. Canucks are underdogs at plus 170 in Edmonton at minus 205. Joe, who you got?
How's the series going? Is it like 2-1, 2-2, something like that?
Series is just starting. Yeah,
one apiece.
I'm pretty sure
one apiece. I don't know, man. I feel I agree with all those sentiments that those guys suck, but I think they're going to end up getting a little bit. It's tough. Yeah, fuck it. I'll take Edmonton.
Joe is taking Edmonton, the home team. This is one of those like where you look at it, the Canucks were the better team. Obviously, they have home ice in this series. It's the same thing as the previous game. Like, how is Vancouver such an underdog to Edmonton? And then it's like, oh, they have Draisaitl. Oh, they have McDavid.
Oh, that's it.
And yeah, but Edmonton, I've struggled with this, and I couldn't make up my mind before this. But I'm going with you, Joe. I'm going to go with Edmonton in this game one at home for Edmonton. Game 3, technically, of the series.
Yeah.
First game of the series at home for Edmonton. That's a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
Nick, who you got?
I mean, we're going to go clean sweep here because I was thinking Edmonton as well.
There you go. Love it.
Sweep it. All right. Well, that'll do it for the victory formation as we hopefully we can't all do better than last week, but some of us will do better than last week. Some of us will do better than we did last week, but we will have the update next week, and we'll see y'all then. Appreciate everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in on all our different platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. Wherever you are, we love you. Thank you, and thank you everybody over at E5280 Sports, especially Michael Spillin over there, for hosting us on this platform. Without you, we'd still be at 100 episodes, but it just wouldn't be as fun, and it'd probably be very not professional looking.
We're gonna figure something out, but this is more fun with you guys.
This is way more fun. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We love you. Don't forget, tell your moms, tell your friends' moms. Don't bang your mom's friends though. That gets awkward.
Happy Mother's Day.
But happy Mother's Day. Thank you,
Happy
Mom, for
Mother's Day.
jumping into that. Thank you. That's where I was going with that.
Speaking of Zach Wilson's mom.
Speaking
Yeah.
of jumping in,
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. Grandmas, everybody,
Hopefully you
aunts,
didn't.
godmothers, dog mothers, cat
Yep.
mothers, cat dog
Love you,
mothers,
Mom.
whoever.
bye everybody.
Bye, everybody.